Hello, my name is Huyền. Nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Greg. Nice to meet you too.
Okay. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
What do you do?
I'm a student. What about you? What do you do?
I am a teacher. How old are you?
I'm 21. What about you? How old are you?
I'm 24 years old. Have you got a boyfriend?
Yes, I have. I've got a boyfriend. And you? Have you got a girlfriend?
Yes, I have a girlfriend. How many siblings have you got?
I've got a sister. And you? How many siblings have you got?
I've got an older brother. Where do you come from?
I come from nearby city. What about you? Where do you come from?
I come from Liverpool City in England. How long have you been here?
I've been here for about 4 years. What about you? How long have you been here?
I've been here for 3 months. How often do you visit your family?
I visit my family once a week. And you? How often do you visit your family?
I visit my family 3 times a year.
Yes.
Who do you usually go home with?
I usually go home alone. And you? Who do you usually go home with?
I usually go home with my brother. When do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown on holidays. What about you? When do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown in the holidays. What time do you usually go home?
I usually go home at 8 a.m. What about you? What time do you usually go home?
I usually go home at 6 p.m. What do you usually do after going back home?
I usually have a shower. What about you? What do you usually do after going back home?
After going back home, I usually visit my family and friends.
Yes.
How do you usually go home?
I usually go home by train and by coach.
Okay.
Yes.
And why don't you go home by train?
Because the train doesn't go to my hometown.
And why don't you go home by motorbike?
Because it's too dangerous to go by motorbike.
And why don't you go home by taxi?
Because it's too expensive for me. And you? How do you usually go home?
I usually go home by aeroplane.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Huyền. Nice to meet you.
My name is Hank. Nice to meet you too.
How are you today?
I'm very well. And you? How are you today?
I'm okay. What do you do?
I'm a student. What about you? What do you do?
I'm a student too. How old are you?
I'm 18 years old. What about you? How old are you?
I'm 21. Have you got a boyfriend?
No, I haven't. I haven't got a boyfriend. What about you? Haven't got a boyfriend?
Yes, I have. I've got a boyfriend. How many siblings have you got?
I've got a brother and a sister. What about you? How many siblings have you got?
I've got a sister. Where do you come from?
I come from Hanoi City. What about you? Where do you come from?
I come from nearby city. How long have you been here?
I've been here for many years. What about you? How long have you been here?
I've been here for about 4 years. How often do you visit your family?
I visit my family every day. What about you? How often do you visit your family?
I visit my family once a week. Who do you usually go home with?
I usually go home with my friend. And you? Who do you usually go home with?
I usually go home alone. When do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown when I run out of money. What about you? When do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown on holidays. What time do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown at 12 p.m. What about you? What time do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown at 8 a.m. What do you usually do after going back home?
After going back home, I usually go to bed. What about you? What do you usually do after going back home?
I usually have a shower. How do you usually go back to your hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown by bicycle.
Why don't you go by bus?
Because the bus doesn't go to my hometown.
Why don't you go by car?
Because I haven't got a car.
Why don't you go by bicycle, by motorbike?
Because it's too dangerous when I go by motorbike. And you, how do you usually go back to my hometown?
I usually go back to my hometown by coach.
Why don't you go by bus?
Because I get car sick when I go by bus.
Why don't you go by car?
Because I haven't bought a car.
Why don't you go by motorbike?
Because it's too dangerous. How far is it from here to your hometown?
It's about 10 kilometers. What about you? How far is it from here to your hometown?
It's about 100 kilometers. How long does it take you to go back to your hometown by bicycle?
It takes me about 15 minutes. What about you? How long does it take you to go back to your hometown by coach?
It takes me about 4 hours. How much does it cost you to go back to your hometown by bicycle?
I usually go home by my bicycle and it's free. What about you? How much does it cost you to go back to your hometown by coach?
It cost me about 100,000 dollars. How long do you usually stay at home for?
I usually stay at home for 6 hours. What about you? How long do you usually stay at home for?
I usually stay at home for about three days. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a nice day.
Okay, see you later.
See you later.